Into the Backrooms, Book 1, Chapter 11, Playland. I awoke to the sounds of cheery party music. My face felt broken and sore as I slowly broke away from the scratchy 1960s arcade-style carpet. What? I thought I escaped, I mumbled as my vision slowly cleared. I gasped as my view opened to a massive, colorful playground. The giant, colorful tubes and mesh fabric windows littered the entire house-sized structure. A playground? It's so big, I said to myself, staring at the massive playset in awe. Isn't this level fun? I said to myself as a faint memory of this level reached the back of my mind. I saw this on a computer back on my head. Where did I see this? I said to myself, slowly forgetting what my home was, where I came from. I continued to stare at the massive playgrounds as I got to my feet, looking at the multitude of slides and chutes that filled the massive playset. Sorry? Where are all the partygoers? I said, slightly taken aback by the fact that I knew the name of one of the entities. What's going on? How did I know this stuff? I said as I looked around. The cheery music played from small box speakers that littered the corners of the ceilings and floors. White folding chairs and tables strewn about the large party chamber I was in, the surfaces littered with plastic cups, crumpled napkins, and party hats. What is this place? Why does it feel different? I muttered as I looked around again. Closed, colorful doors with a slightly covered lock laid spread out across the wall, leading in a different party room shielded by glossy and clean glass windows. How are the windows so clean anyways? I muttered as I began to walk up to one of the windows. Leave. A barely audible voice called from all around me. I froze, not wanting to look at what was speaking to me with such a chilling aura. I want to, I choked, finally gathering the courage to look behind me. Nothing. There was nothing there. I was still alone. What? I said, fear filling my voice. My heartbeat sped up, the sound of each thump filling my ears. Who's there? I called, my voice slightly echoing through the playground before disappearing into the brightly lit chamber I had completely. Leave. The voice called again, slightly louder this time. I backed against the door, glancing around frantically to see what was calling out to me. Where are you? I cried, fear slowly crushing my soul down like an old printing press. I want to leave, please, where are you? I screamed, my voice bouncing off of the walls before vanishing completely. The echo had changed. Get out! Sorry, I can't scream, it's like 11 o'clock at night, but I had to continue. Get out! The voice screamed. The room appeared to shake as I stumbled back, falling through the unlocked door behind me. My heart pounded in my chest frantically as I scrambled back on all fours. I'm trying, I swear I'm trying, please, I cried, tears quickly falling from my eyes onto the scratchy blue carpet, the colorful squiggly pattern laid unchanged by my salty tears of pure sadness and fear, actually seeming to grow brighter as if it was feeding on my sorrows. I backed all the way against the wall, staring at the playground through the large glass viewing window as I cried to myself, soaking my blood-stained clothes in tears as I pressed myself back against the concrete wall behind me. I just want to leave, please, I whispered solemnly as I stared off into the distance. The gash in my forehead from earlier had begun to scab over, slowing the steady flow of blood that had been soaking my clothes. I want to be let out. I want to leave. Trust me, I whispered to myself as my tears soaked the collar of my shirt. I gently touched the gash on my head and winced, slight pain firing through my skull as I interrupted a small part of the healing process. I looked around, still trying to see who had been talking to me, only to find nothing. I have to get out of here. I can't stay here any longer, I said as I rose to my feet. I walked over to the wall, tempted to crush my skull and just end it. No, that's not how this works, I said as I walked out of the room, holding my hands up in defense, not wanting to kill myself just yet. I have to try first, I mumbled as I exited the party room, closing the door behind me. I looked around before my eyes slowly stopped on the playground. There could be something there, I said to myself. I took a step forward, allowing my eyes to explore the area before entering. A large kiddie pool full of plastic balls laid in one corner. multiple colored slides exiting into it. I glanced up at the maze of tunnels and chutes and spidered a ladder to the ceiling. I knew it! I hissed as I began to run, beelining it for the ladder. The cheery party music began to drive into the front of my mind, causing me to slow down. I actually want to have some fun first, I said confidently as I turned around, facing away from the ladder before running for the ball pit. I watched as the ball pit grew closer, my feet pounding against the soft yet firm carpet as I booked it for the balls. I want to jump in, I said as I began to lose control of my mind. I laughed, my sanity breaking down. I want to jump in the ball pit, I screamed as I ran faster, my lungs burning as I ignored my body's signs of distress. The music grew louder as I closed the gap. 15 feet. 12 feet. 9 feet. I love fun! I cackled as I jumped into the air. 3 feet. 2 feet. In. I landed in the ball pit with a loud, plastic-sounding thwack, my legs not hitting the bottom as my head instantly went under. Almost immediately, panic set in. Fuck! I gasped as I sunk deeper. The balls closed in over me as the ball pit began to swallow me whole. I can't breathe, I groaned as I sunk deeper, my throat closing as my lungs became crushed. My chest heaved before closing in, the weight of the plastic balls not allowing me to breathe anymore. I inhaled, bringing the plastic balls over the holes I could breathe through, causing them to suffocate me more. Please, I whispered as my vision faded in and out. I grew lightheaded as my vision filled with colors such as white, blue, yellow, and green. My voice was cut off as the plastic balls choked me slowly, closing around my throat, preventing movement in my head. No. I wheezed as everything faded in and out, my vision slowly becoming completely blurred as my head grew more and more heavy. I groaned as I sunk further, now my mind only being able to function. The smell of plastic filled my nose as I never touched the bottom. My body left to sink in the ball pit forever. I exhaled one last time before everything went black. Segment 2. I woke up to the sounds of cheery party music and a view of the house-side playground in front of me. What happened? I mumbled as I looked around confusedly. My head hurt, a migraine pounding away in my skull as my vision pained me. My arms and legs felt sore, and my thighs kept cramping. How? I muttered as my eyes suddenly fell on the ball pit. The endless pit of plastic balls sat mockingly in front of the playground, seeming to laugh at the fact that it was able to take my life without even trying. The ball pit, I wasn't in control. How? I said as millions of thoughts raced through my head. My eyes darted away from the ball pit and over to the massive slides. The tall yellow and red beams seemed to reach for the sky, being wrapped with a squishy foam exterior to prevent kids from danger when playing under the maze's structures. What was happening before I... My eyes fell on the ladder, an open trapdoor laying on the ceiling. The ladder seemed to be the way up to it. I took a deep breath and scanned the area around the escape hatch. A set of thin metal beams leading to a platform below the ladder seemed to be the only way over it. The maze of mesh windows filled the entire walls below the ceiling part of the playground, appearing to fill tens of hundreds of feet of fabric mesh and boxy chambers. The trapdoor has to be a way out, I said to myself as I continued to look around. My eyes fell on a small train ride in the far right corner of the massive playground chamber, the track winding multiple corners, going up and down before stopping at a little train station near the center of everything. There was no train, and only the twisty winding track showed the train existed here. I turned about 90 degrees to see a wall of shelves, some holding random items inside. Resources? I said, confidence and hope rising in my chest as I quickly walked over to them. The rows of small plastic cubes went along the wall for about 20 feet, going up about 50 before stopping near the ceiling. Almond water, I muttered as I picked up a small canister that resembled a water bottle. A faded white strip wrapped around the glass bottle with the words almond water scratched into the paper with black pen. I twisted the cap, hesitant to actually drink it before bringing it to my lips. Leave. A distant voice called, sending chills through my entire body. I shivered, gripping the bottle of almond water tightly before chugging it. The cold, refreshing liquid poured down my throat, filling my stomach and making my throat less dry. I melted in relief as the mysterious liquid calmed my nerves. "Oh my God," I said as I finished off the rest of the liquid in the bottle. I looked around, listening for the voices as I scanned the rest of the cubicles while I did so. The voices in my head. After I drank this almond water, they stopped. I mumbled to myself as I placed the empty bottle of almond water back in the cubicle I had found it in. This stuff does something for my sanity or something like that. I don't know. I said as I took a few steps to the right, scanning the shelves for more resources. My eyes landed on a set of 2 batteries, my mind instantly jumping to the conclusion that there was electronic devices in this place. There has to be a flashlight or something somewhere, I said to myself as I put the 2 batteries into my jeans' left pocket, grabbed another bottle of almond water and set it on the ground, slowly starting a pile of resources I could use or would need. Continued scanning the shelves at eye level until I spotted something insanely useful. "Holy shit, is this a backpack?" I cried as I grabbed the worn-out brown-colored sack out of the cubicle it was in. I lifted the top flap and looked inside to see a flashlight with no batteries, a bottle of almond water, and some stale-looking bread. I gasped as I looked into the I gasped as I reached into the backpack and grabbed the flashlight. "I knew it!" I cried as I grabbed the batteries out of my pocket. I popped the battery cover off the flashlight and slid the batteries into their proper places. "Does it?" I pressed the battery cover back into place and flicked the on and off switch. Let's try that again, shall we? "Does it?" I pressed the battery cover back into place and flicked the on switch off. God, this is a fucking tongue twister. Jesus Christ. "Does it?" I pressed the battery cover back into place and flicked the on-off switch to on. Finally. Yes! A bright beam of light lit up the cubicles in front of me as the flashlight powered on. I swung the flashlight around, watching the beam of light with my eyes as it lit up darker spaces and dimmer areas. "There has to be more," I said to myself as I slid the flashlight into one of the side pockets of the backpack, smiling as it rested snugly in its chosen compartment. I scanned the shelves, even quicker than before, and almost used up rolls of tape. Oh, I skipped. My bad. I scanned the shelves even quicker than before, grabbing items such as batteries, string, scrap metal, leather scraps, almond water, and almost used up rolls of tape. "There's so much stuff!" I cried as I filled the backpack with everything I could. A feeling of relief washed over me as the items I had now rested on a sack I could carry with me at all times. "It's time to get out of here," I said to myself as I turned away from the cubicles. The cheery party music was now a subtle background noise as I sprinted towards the playground. The voices in my head had stopped, allowing me to avoid things such as being controlled to run on my death. "That ladder is my ticket out of here," I said calmly as I slowed my pace, standing at the base of the massive house-sized playset in front of me. The cheery party music drifted through the playground as I took a step into the largest challenge in this new level fun.